Hello everyone. Let's solve today's daily Leetcode problem 1504. Count submatrices with all ones. Before starting this problem, we shall have a small motivational quote. Always be thankful for the bad things in life. They open your eyes to see the good things you weren't paying attention before. Very true, right? So let's say you are almost about to complete a solution and you end up with a problem. uh, it is very important to take that problem up in a right way and solve it to the fullest extent, because it can obviously help you in the long run, or maybe in completing that project itself, right? So uh, this is a very practical example, and you guys can put uh, mention me in the comment section on how uh, some problems that you fixed help to also solve others, right? So yeah, look to hear more comments going forward. So let's understand this problem. Given an matrix m comma n, binary matrix, so all zeros and ones, return the submatrices that have all ones, right? So let's understand these examples. So so 1 comma 1 is nothing but just a cell with the number 1 only. So we see 6 values which contain only ones, and two rectangles with 1 comma 2. So this okay, this and this one are the two rectangles which contains one row and two columns of all ones, and 2 comma 2 is only 1, while 2 comma 1 is 3, 1 2 3, right? So those are the three triangles, and 3 comma 1, do we see anything? Okay, so there is three rows and one column, so that's one as well. So totally it comes to 13. Okay, so uh, this is also more or less the same, but I believe 4 rows and 3 columns, one additional row. We can go over this, but yeah, I guess we should have already understood the problem expectation. Let's think about what our solution approach might be. So there are multiple approaches that we can take to solve this problem. One of the ideas that I would like to use and try solving this problem is, let's say we iterate through each row, and for each row we say we calculate, let's say we iterate row by row, and as we iterate row by row, we also consider them as an histogram, where histogram is nothing more than a small piece of box which, let's say, in our row, let's say we start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this. So we start at 0th row and we move up all the way, right? So let's consider it that way, and we find all the consecutive ones, and also once we do that, we use stacks to store all these value, and also an array, dp array, com- uh, to keep track of the right and count, such that we also keep track of all the rows, number of ones that are present in the rows, right? So the steps that we are going to take here is, so let's say we are going to have a simple row based for loop and a column based for loop, and we are going to calculate height such that uh, the matrix row and column has value 1, and we increase height plus 1, else 0, And also once we do that, we shall say write and count for calculating all the columns that contain the ones, and this will be an array. So here we are going to use a stack to keep track of all the values. So we are going to do it this way. Again, we are going to run through a columns for loop, and we are going to here we are going to increase the stack value and find previous smaller height. So that's how we are going to do it. So I will take it to the Leetcode editor and add in code, and let me see how much I can apply. And this part is something that would be slightly tricky, but I would try explaining it as I go through the code, right? So let me go to the Leetcode editor and let me start solving this problem. The whole idea here is we are going to consider, let's say we iterate through rows, and we are going to consider it as an historical set of elements, and we are also going to calculate the previous set of rows where there are ones, and that way we can also get the the columns where 2 cross 1 or 3 cross 1. So in a single row there are 3 ones or so. That would be the whole idea. Let's go to the Leetcode editor and let's start implementing the solution. So this would be the maximum height of the histograms for each column. So this would be another array, and similarly we are also going to have another array for uh, the right and count for the column based occurrences of the ones, right? Now it's time for us to also calculate the previous set of ones, or the all the rows that have next set of ones in them, right? So that we are going to keep track of in this array, right and count, and that will be something similar. Rows, rows, columns, and and we are going to check the stack and height stack dot length. So with this, we are also going to update the right hand count with all the values. Say, if it is greater than 1, then we increase it. Else we okay. So this should solve our problem. The time and space complexity of this solution would be of n into rows into columns, and the space complexity would be of n, right? Before even we gight. Okay, before we even end this problem, let us understand what is happening with the stacks here. Okay, so in order for us to understand what is going on in this piece of stacks condition, so here what we are doing here is there are once we check for the smallest piece of height as per our uh, thought process, where we were saying we shall take the smallest piece of histogram and then we shall uh, take it as an height and So with all the columns, we are checking uh, the smallest piece of height that we have recorded previously as we go through each row. And next we might come up, we uh, check the there are two cases. If there is no uh, elements in the stack like the one that we are seeing here, then we can simply say we can take all the values from 0 to c, right? 0 to c as in sense the number of columns, and that we are considering as the height that we initially have, and that is the value that we are constructing here, right? And we push the same here. Let's say once there are values into the stack, then this is where we need to check for the previous smallest value, so that there are ones in all of the cells and that form a single rectangle, right? So so we are doing this computation where we are also uh, considering the left boundaries and the right boundaries, uh, such that it is always less than or equal to previous, right? And we are adding it up with the previous right and count value. Okay, so hope you found this explanation helpful, and hope you were also able to think about come up with the right thought process, and you were able to solve this problem. uh, Please do like and subscribe to my channel. Please do drop comments on any specific section that you felt was little tricky to understand, or anything that could have done better. Thank you.